my first vlog since December. All right, well, we're gonna jump right back into it. Happy Monday. It's actually Martin Luther King Day, which means that most people have off and I have a packed work day. It's actually not that bad. Before we jump into that, we're gonna talk about the topic of today's video, which is New Year's resolutions. I feel like it's always a very hotly debated topic on whether a New Year's resolution is a good or a bad thing. If you ask me, like everything else, it's just kind of in the gray, right? I think that it comes down to your implementation and your intent. You know, I understand that people maybe set unrealistic goals for themselves in January, but other people don't. So if we automatically label something as an unsustainable goal simply because it is set in January, who is that helping? You know, maybe this is the time of year where people are most motivated. And even though motivation isn't always around, I firmly believe when you have it, like, let's take advantage of it, right? We don't want to go too hard, but we want to use that motivation while we have it to build sustainable habits. When we're not motivated, we're more likely to continue it. I just think that that's a better approach rather than shaming people away from making a resolution at all, which is exactly what my ex-employer is doing. Equinox. Actually, don't get me wrong, I love Equinox. I didn't work there for very long. I was hired in January of 2020, group fitness, not personal training. So I really only worked there for like 2 months before the pandemic, but it was my dream job and they were fantastic. So it's actually really, I don't know, it's really weird, this campaign that they're putting out. So in case you missed it, the first thing that they put out was just like an empty gym with one really buff white dude. And it was basically just like, we don't take new members on January 1st. And this is the benefit of it. It was like an empty gym. So it's just very like, what? Also, I know that people got offended when I called Tracy Anderson a rich white woman in a few videos ago. So I am just anticipating people being upset that I called this a white dude. Let me explain something to you. In the women's fitness industry, the ideal, the only people who had any power, any influence for a very long time in the women's sector was rich white women. And their only goal was to get as teeny tiny small as possible, okay? So when I say like rich white lady, I'm not saying it, I mean, it's not a racial slur. I'm a white lady, it's fine. I'm saying it from the viewpoint of like, this is a sect of the fitness industry and this is what they believe, right? You might still take offense to that, and we can just kind of like sit here to agree to disagree. But once again, it's not a racial slur. You are more than welcome to be offended or maybe not like that I say that, but that is where I'm coming from. Same thing with this. We can actually just say the fitness industry as a whole has been dominated by buff white men since its inception. So I just think it's sending out a very uninviting message. I don't know, that's not fully fleshed out and it is like before 8 a.m. So they actually deleted that post and then they go on to talk about like, we don't speak January. Why does January always want to start next week? Like they're very like anti-January. It's like Republicans and their pronouns. Like they don't believe in the word for some reason. Oh, and then this one, how are you celebrating Quitter's Day? What? What? I don't know. Okay, like Equinox is a really expensive gym. Like if you want to go that route, if you want to be like, we only take rich people, we only take buff people, we only take people who have their lives in check, like I don't know, it just feels very like we want the cream of the crop and you're not invited. You can't sit with us. That's what it feels like. And you know what? If that's what you want to do, you're a business. This is America. You can do whatever you want. That's not a business that I want to spend my money at. And it's a shame I know so many people who are incredible instructors who don't agree with this messaging. It's very weird to me. I just don't see how that's helpful at all. But anyway, so on the docket today, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 clients. I have my own personal training session. That's one of the new things I'm doing this year. I have to edit a video and then I am teaching my karaoke cardio class, which is like musical theater dance cardio. You're encouraged to sing along. Our theme tonight is the Jonathan Groff fan club. If you don't know who Jonathan Groff is, you do. He's from Spring Awakening, Glee, Hamilton, like you know who he is. So anyway, I'm also like a little stuffy and I don't really know why. That's frustrating. All right, let's keep going. So we've made it through our clients. I do have one more after I teach tonight. And I do have to edit a YouTube video as I just kind of like get my face on because I feel like I need to put makeup on and just feel like a person, feel very lethargic. So as we're doing that, we're gonna talk about my resolutions for this year. So I have like 3 overarching goals in 3 very different areas of my life. Just a heads up, I'm actually not going to talk about fitness at all in this video because I have another video coming out, or did come out. I have a video coming out all about my 2023 fitness routine. So I figured I would just kind of like save that for that video. But the first goal that I have is actually dental related. And the goal is to take care of my teeth more. If you remember my 90-day journey video from last year, I actually talked about flossing more in that video. And I did stick with it for a while. You're gonna see when I talk about my next goal, one of the reasons that it kind of fell by the wayside. But essentially, like, making poor nighttime decisions and putting off flossing led to me not doing it. So what does this goal mean and how am I implementing it? I already floss twice a day. Like, that's not a problem spot for me. It really is flossing and then going to the dentist. So the first part of that goal, I'm gonna floss more often than I don't, which means that I have to floss at least 4 times a week. Simple, easy, very attainable. Like I said, one of the reasons I wasn't doing this was because I was waiting until like the moment I was going to bed. So I just can't do that anymore. So when I know that I'm done eating for the night, I get up and I'm gonna brush and floss my teeth, and that's it. And that's been working really well so far. Let's move on to the second goal, which is my alcohol habits. I feel like it's always been really taboo to talk about alcohol. And luckily, there's definitely more of this like sober that was supposed to be quotes, sober curious trend happening, which I am all on board with. Because I feel like in the past, it's like if you ever even thought about reevaluating your relationship with alcohol, you're an alcoholic. Like, you either have a problem or you don't. And I don't know, I just don't think that's true. Like with everything else that I preach, and I understand that like alcohol there are no health benefits to alcohol. Like, more and more studies are coming out about that. But like everything else, and especially because it is a part of so many different cultures, I think that it's important to at least talk about ways to sustainably include it within your lifestyle, if that's of interest to you. Anyway, I've talked about this before. I tend to develop an unhealthy reliance on alcohol to relax. And when does this happen? At the end of the night, right? And that's not inherently bad by any means, but when it becomes like only way you know how to relax, or if it then influences your decision making about, should I take the time to floss? Do I need a snack right now? Should I stay up and watch this show, or should I go to bed and get a good night's sleep? The quality of my sleep, how I feel the next morning. Oh, now I'm groggy, so I'm not going to be as productive. Like, it's just kind of an interesting ripple effect. And I realized that a lot of the pain points within my routine really did go back to consuming alcohol at night. So, goal with this is actually really simple. I'm gonna enjoy alcohol sparingly and strategically. Breaking down exactly what that means, I don't drink on nights where I have to work the next day. That's it. So with my schedule, most of the time that means that I could drink if I wanted to on Fridays or Saturdays. Obviously, there's gonna be exceptions. We're just manifesting it, an Eagles Super Bowl. But I just found that last year, the exception was more of the norm. So I want to make that norm more of the exception. And then the final goal is more of a business goal. I have a whole plethora of like little micro goals that I'm working on business-wise, but one that I did want to share with you guys is about my appearance. I just want to be more presentable when I'm teaching classes. I found by the end of last year, like, I don't know, especially in morning classes, I was just kind of like, oh, I don't need to do my makeup or my hair, or like I can wear this baggy shirt. And especially because I'm filming it and then putting it out there for my on-demand people to watch, like, I don't know, and people can disagree with me on this, but I don't think it's a good look. Is how I look the end-all be-all of my business? No. But I think it's naive to say that aesthetics and my appearance does not play into how well my business does, because I do think that it has a huge hand in it. Okay, so obviously you guys just saw me kind of like talk through how, what, why, like, with all of my goals. I am gonna give you some tips on how you can do the same thing, but we do have to move on with the rest of our day. So I'm gonna edit a video, it's this one. It's about like progress photos or before and after photos, and I talk about Mad Fit a little bit in there. Sorry, I know people get like traumatized when I talk to the camera, curling my eyelash. Then I've got to prep for class tonight, teach that class, nutrition client, edit the class, get it up. It's definitely a busy Monday. Buckle up, y'all. So I do have one final client for the day, but I have to edit that class, so I kind of want to just finish out this video. Let's talk about some tips on how to actually implement getting toward your goals. First and foremost, you have to get specific. Literally like how, what, when, why this shit. Let's take my dental goal, for example. I'm gonna floss at least 4 times a week. Well, why wasn't I doing it before? Well, I was waiting too long in the day and would just kind of talk myself out of it. Great, so I'm gonna brush and floss immediately when I am done eating for the day. Done. Just keep picking apart your goal, get so specific until you literally cannot tear it apart anymore, but you see the clear path there. Next tip is to remind yourself why. Why is my favorite question. And I know it might seem simple, but it's actually pretty loaded when you really start to break it down. Let's take my alcohol habits goal. I'm gonna remind myself why I am implementing this goal. I feel better without it. My clothes fit better, my long-term health is better, I save money, my sleep improves, my skin is clear, I have better decision making. I mean, that's just right off the top of my head. So then the next time you are tempted to choose something that doesn't necessarily align with your goals, I want you to stop, remind yourself of your why, and just give yourself a chance to make that decision a little bit more informed. And then my third and final tip is to accept imperfection. You're never gonna hit your goals 100%. Like, it's unrealistic. So instead of aiming for perfection, I just want you to aim for better than before. Aim for the majority. Aim for more times than less. Like, you get what I'm saying here. You know, part of why people even give up on their resolutions is because they set really unrealistic expectations. Life is hard, it's messy, it's busy, shit hits the fan. So I still implore you to give yourself grace when you need it. Okay, just putting my feet up over here. So I hope all of this was helpful and just gives you a little bit more understanding of how to create some sustainable resolutions and actually stick to them in 2023 and any year. Any questions, as always, leave them down below, and I will see you all in the next one.